moments ago on Reuters, and here is the article that they put out today, is that it seems that what is the argument in this article, that $150 billion of Iran's $300 billion reparations is already committed. Uh, what is that? I don't know what is the source, but it seems that they have a pretty good source from American officials or somewhere, within the Trump.
Where did that appear?
On Reuters.
Okay.
And this is I think this is bombastic if that what is happening. My understanding is, because so far looking at the points of MOU, memorandum of understanding, you see nothing coming out from the Iranian side, from the American side, but we had two versions today. One coming from the Saudi Arabia, coming out from Al Arabiya, the media of Saudi Arabia, and the other came out from Axios. And both of them, in my opinion, are not giving us the reality of MOU, because the foreign minister of Iran, Araghchi, in his latest comment, he said Lebanon was mentioned in the MOU 3 times.
Right.
Which none of these two versions are presenting that to us.
Well, here, let me look at the article here just real quick. I just want to see what they say the source is. The one that said that half has already been committed.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that companies, they're looking at private companies in South Korea, Japan, Singapore, Malaysia, and the U.S. have made financial commitments to invest money, to put money into the Iranian economy. That's how I'm reading that.
Yeah.
And that means so that they got pledges at this point up to $150 billion. Well, remember all the money that was pledged for the Board of Peace in Gaza?
Yeah.
How much has actually shown up? None.
I think the last time we heard it's empty. Nothing.
Yeah. So hopefully Iran keeps that in mind when they don't want to have a bunch of empty promises. You don't want to be dealing with Wimpy from Popeye. He always has to say, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Give me the hamburger now, and I might pay you when I see you next, which may or may not be the case. So, but again, the point out of all of this is Trump still has not released the memo, the memorandum of understanding. Why? Why hasn't he released it? Is it because there are still areas of disagreement with Iran that they haven't fully reconciled, and so they need a couple of more days to get that ironed out?
They have released something else. Here is what White House has released so far, the talking points of MOU. The first point, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. And the second, President Trump ended the fighting on every front, including Lebanon. No forever war. The third is the Strait of Hormuz.
He hasn't done much.
Again, free of charge. And the fourth is so important. The fourth is much more important than other points. Iran's reward come from its own frozen money, not from the United States taxpayers. And only after it performs. What is written below that is no nuclear weapon, no full relief. It means that Iran needs to make nuclear weapons.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, this is called spin. So the other, I was laying out the other options that why he hasn't released it. They still haven't released the memorandum of understanding. So is it because there are still issues to be discussed and they're still debating and discussing, trying to work out a compromise? Or is it that, yeah, it is finished, and he was afraid that if they released it before Friday, that the backlash from the Zionists, the neoconservatives, will be so great that it could possibly derail the signing of an agreement. So I think it may be more the latter.
I think your point is quite right, because today we've learned it from two sources from Israel, Channel 12, and later on one of the Israeli reporters confirmed that Israel asked the United States to give a copy of MOU, but the Trump administration rejected that. They said, we're not going to. And so it seems that they don't know what's in it. The government in Israel. I don't know what.
Stop. That's what I have no doubt. That's what Israel's saying. Do you believe them?
No.
Or do you believe that they actually have spies inside the Trump administration?
A lot of them.
Yeah, that are passing on. So Israel, they know exactly what's in it. This is they're playing this card now to try to make themselves look like the victim. They haven't told us anything. We don't know nothing. They know everything, which is why they're pissed off and panicked. And so that's why I think in part they're doing that. But yeah, no, I'm just giving you a hard time because
I think your point is, you're making the point. The key point is that Israel knows everything, but I don't know why are they asking the United States officially? What is that?
Well, it's designed to embarrass Trump. So that they can present Israel can present themselves as the victims. Oh, we were blindsided. We had no idea this was going to happen to us. And that nasty man, Donald Trump, did this to us. If you watched, I don't think you've had a chance, and I wouldn't encourage it because, it's bad for your brain. But if you've watched any of Mark Levin's comments or Ben Shapiro's comments, here these guys, they were so busy kissing Donald Trump's ass over the last couple of months. Shapiro, Donald Trump's the greatest president ever because he's going in and he's, kicking the hell out of Iran. Now he's like, I hate Donald Trump. So it is, they're very mercurial. And it is Trump's, I think Trump decided to do this and press forward with this because of he's been given the polling news, and the polling news is bad, and so he knows if he doesn't do a turnaround now, so they say, you're going to lose Jewish support. Well, the pollster will say Jews are not that big of a voting bloc anyway, and they don't vote monolithically. You'll have many that will support you for cutting a deal like this. And I think he recognizes that this came out in the news yesterday that the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in the United States is now 360 million barrels. That sounds like a lot, but then you ask the question, how many barrels of oil a day does the United States consume? The answer, 20. Well, do the math. That's about 18 days worth of oil. And if they run out, and they've been using that reserve to try to drive the prices of oil, gasoline down around the world, or particularly in Europe and the United States. Create the illusion that, it's not bad. They said that this is going to be terrible, that it was going to, create riots in the street. No, see how the prices come down. Well, in 17 days, it's likely going to skyrocket. And I think that's one of the things he's looking at. And it was interesting that he did fulfill the promise. They lifted the blockade, and yesterday I started checking. The number of Iranian ships now moving through the Strait of Hormuz is just a significant number.
Yeah. The blockade is gone.
Yeah.
But they're still controlling the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
And today I talked with Professor Mann. He said for 60 days there would be no charge, no fee or toll in the Strait of Hormuz. But as Axios reported today, there is a new mechanism for the Strait of Hormuz. They said that is mentioned. Axios reported that is part of MOU, that Iran going to be in charge of the Strait of Hormuz together with Oman, and they're going to charge, whoever wants to use the Strait of Hormuz.
A resort fee. Now if you go to Vegas, and they used to almost pay you to go to Vegas to gamble. Now that the corporations are involved, by God, you're going to pay for your hotel room rate, and you're going to have to pay for breakfast, and they charge you a resort fee, which sometimes could be like, if your room's $200, you got another $50 to pay per day. So you stay 10 days, all of a sudden you're up $500. So yeah, that's what Iran's doing the same thing to the ships that want to come in and out of the Strait of Hormuz. You pay each time.
I think the problem is that, as CNN reported, I don't know if you saw the article on CNN, the U.S. intel assessed Iran can shut down the Strait of Hormuz at will, from now on. And their assessment that if Iran, he says, their assessment indicates that it would be impossible to open the Strait of Hormuz without Iran's consent.
Right.
And with one U.S. official saying to the CNN, we have now handed Iran de facto control over the strait, a weapon more powerful than any nuke. And this was reported on CNN today.
Yeah, I don't know whether they said they've now... The U.S. hadn't done anything. Iran has had de facto, not de facto, they've had control over the Strait of Hormuz. And now the question becomes, is the world, what other countries are ready to recognize Iran's claim as legitimate, as legal? So you still have the Europeans, the Germans and the Brits saying, no, that's illegal. That's international waterway. But now it sounds like in this, the United States at least has conceded that, yes, this is a legal act for Iran to do.
Larry, how much of what's going on between Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu is real? Look at the attacks, the new attacks of Donald Trump, calling Benjamin Netanyahu, telling him everybody hates you and everybody hates Israel. You're surviving this sort of chaos because of me. Israel is alive because of me. And this sort of talks, trash talking Benjamin Netanyahu. If we assume it's all fake, it's all some kind of show, it's so humiliating for Benjamin Netanyahu.
Well, yeah. How this, I don't understand how they think this could be a staged event, staged to say that Trump is really talking bad about Netanyahu. Because what's interesting is when you look at the comments of other Israelis, they are excoriating Netanyahu for being too soft, too compliant with Trump. So this isn't helping Netanyahu's political position at all. And even if he comes back and he's caught, if he goes along with what Trump's doing, it's going to lose him votes in the electorate. If he pushes back and tries to oppose Trump on this, it's going to leave Israel in a vulnerable spot where they'll likely be fighting Iran again and be fighting by themselves. The U.S. would say, okay, we're pulling our KC-135s out. Well, Iran doesn't have a robust backup for that.
And the attacks are his attacks, I don't know if you saw today what Donald Trump said about Israel. He said removing Israel, putting Syria in charge, and saying Israel is killing too many people. There is no necessity for that. And here is what he said today, Larry.
Too long and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody. Because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Because to be honest with you, I think they do a better job of doing it. Without us, without the United States, there would be no Israel. Without me, there would be no Israel, because no other president was willing to do what I did. I've had a great relationship with Bibi, but now Bibi has to be more responsible with respect to Lebanon. Lebanon used to be a great country. It was a country where you had professors, doctors, lawyers. The great intellect was in Lebanon. Now it's terrible. I would say of all countries, they've been treated the worst. And they can't defend themselves. And they have Hezbollah, which is a problem for them. So, no, I'm not happy with the way Israel has handled themselves with Lebanon and with Hezbollah. They should have been able to do the job faster. It just goes on forever. And when that happens, it throws a negative light on the big deal, and that's the deal with Iran.
Yeah. I think he's putting out many facts, by the way.
Somebody say, is that Donald Trump? Let's get a urine test quick. Make sure he hasn't been replaced by some alien, a doppelganger, a Trump doppelganger's come in. He's now admitting that, yes, Israel is engaged with genocide. It is killing innocents just to try to kill one person. And, we'll see how long Trump, the more he says that, the more it just drives the neoconservatives crazy. And, they'll put the Ben Shapiro's and the, Mark Levin's into head exploding territory. We'll hear what sounds like, oh my God, in Washington, D.C. tonight, they're reporting explosions. And then a few minutes later, never mind, those were the heads of prominent neoconservatives and Zionist newsmen who were covering the president, and they have disagreed, and their heads exploded as a result. So it's not a terrorist attack. Thank you and have a good day,
I think what he said, nobody would have done what Donald Trump has done for Israel. Basically, he's talking about the war against Iran, I think.
Yeah.
That was the dream of Benjamin Netanyahu for many years. So he has it right now, and he has to own the outcomes of that war. Basically, what he's facing right now is the outcome, is the reality of the war that he wanted for such a long time.
Right.
And he has to brace those outcomes. There is no way for Israel.
Yeah, I think I shared this with you earlier today, or earlier yesterday, that Israel is almost dependent on the United States for air refueling operations. Yeah, they do have some. They have some, but they don't have planes as capable as the KC-135 is. So that and how much it can hold and how much it can refuel and how many planes can operate. I think it's at least 6. Each KC-135 can handle up to 6 planes. So, but Israel needs that, and needs also U.S. intelligence, overhead imagery, and satellite intercepts. Now, their own unit 8200 has some of that, but not quite like what the CIA has.
There is CIA, based on Access reported, the head of CIA is reporting that what Iran is saying, in their communications with the Americans, what they're saying about their nuclear program they're not honest the way they're talking with the United States, because behind the scene, based on the intelligence and that CIA gathered, they're talking differently. Their assessment is different behind the scene. And
okay,
I don't know.
Did he say how different?
Yeah, it said that Iran, it didn't mention, but it says totally different. What they're arguing on, with the ongoing negotiations on their nuclear program, and what is happening behind the scenes, totally different scenarios. It was reported citing the head of CIA, John Ratcliffe. And later on today, from the Israeli sources, Israel Hayom reported that Donald Trump is considering to fire those people who are against the agreement.
Mm-hmm. So they talk about, I saw that they're talking about firing Ratcliffe, Hegseth, and Rubio.
Yeah. It said Rubio less than Ratcliffe and Hegseth. Maybe Ratcliffe and Hegseth going to be the first two options to be fired.
Okay, so here was, I looked up quick, the DNI assessment, which is the intelligence community assessment, which means that the main collectors, they talk about 17 intelligence agencies, or now I've heard the new number 18. It is, just for the record, it's really only about 5. You've got the Central Intelligence Agency, and as a human collection, and they do some, let's call it electronic collection, but primarily a human collection. You've got I put the Department of Defense as a whole, because within DOD, you've got the Defense Intelligence Agency, which has analysts and also has collectors. The defense attaches overseas collect information. And then within DOD, you have some top secret intelligence organizations that are not readily or publicly acknowledged, but operate. So those are the two sort of human. You got State Department, which provides information through its diplomatic channels. You get the National Security Agency, which supplies information by intercepting, like a vacuum cleaner, sucking up every email, every phone call, any spoken conversation that can be recorded. And then you got the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, NGIA, I think it is now. And so they do, again, overhead imagery, but maps and such. So those are the 5 big ones. So when you do an assessment, you go to each of those 5, since they're original collectors, and say, hey, what's your information on Iran's nuclear program? And the conclusion was that she said Iran is not currently building a nuclear weapon. The supreme leader has not reauthorized the weapons program that was suspended in 2003. And the intelligence community continues to monitor for any decision by current or new Iranian leadership to pursue one. So, and the CIA assessment remains the same. So that's why I'm saying this, for Ratcliffe to come out now and claim that, oh, no, CIA now has a completely different point of view. Well, wait a second. What is the specific intelligence you've seen in the last 12 months that has caused you to do a complete volte-face, turnaround, reverse course?